Hello, everyone. Welcome to the United Stand. Welcome to your fan forum. After what has been the bitterest of bittersweet nights for Manchester United, we're going to get straight into this because although United did win the game, we all know we are now dropped into the knockout round of the Europa League, in with the big guns, and God knows what that's going to bring. I've got Jordan, Kev, and Charlie. Boys, you all okay?
Good, mate.
Yep, all good.
All right,
good.
Let's dive straight into this. Jordan, I'm coming straight to you here, pal. Another win, another clean sheet. Oh, I can't help but feel disappointed in the end. It seemed to be going well, but then in the second half, Jordan, it just seemed to evaporate and we seemed to lose all control of the game. How did you dissect that one tonight?
Yeah, it's the most losing feeling win we've had in a long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's look, Ten Hag's got to take the L on this one to a degree. He tried something. I'm all for a manager that tries something rather than what we've had in the past, someone that sits back and doesn't do anything. But if it works, he's a genius, and if he doesn't, then it's on him, and he's got to take pelters for it. I felt like the substitutions made us lose control of that second half. I felt like Sociedad activated Simeone ball in the second half and couldn't stay on their feet, dive in, play acting. We call it the dark arts, and they completely mastered it in the second half. And I just felt like we completely lost shape and lost control. I really don't understand the substitutions. If it was that he was bringing on players for height, we don't deliver balls into the box. Yes, recently we have scored a couple of goals from crosses, but it's not something that we're notorious for. And it just didn't work for me, to be honest. I thought in the first half we had more control, but then you look at it. Yes, we've had more possession, which is something that he wants. But you look at attempts on target. We were completely outplayed in that area. Once again, we've struggled to unlock another team's defense. I felt like Eriksen was ghost mode. He should have come off for me. That was the obvious substitution. I would have brought him off for Rashford earlier and hopefully tried to keep more control of the ball. I just felt like I said, the substitutions and going to the back three and whatnot, it just really didn't work for me, guys. And the one thing is, though, that like I'm not negative and I don't feel negatively about having to play potentially a Barcelona or a Leverkusen or an Ajax. These are the teams that we want to be playing, but in a different tournament, the Champions League. So I want to see where we're at against these teams. Yes, I don't want the extra fixtures, but I'm not shying away from the fact that we've got to go and play these games. And I think, what Ten Hag said in the presser yesterday about us ultimately having to play everyone at some point, potentially. That's just how I feel. I want those big nights at Old Trafford. I want to play those big teams. Yes, it is the tournament of the fallen giants to a degree at the moment, but I want to go out there and see where we mark ourselves against teams in Europe.
That's it there. I mean, over the last few weeks, Charlie, Ten Hag has been praising the substitutes, the impact of the substitutes, and he's been dead right. But Jordan went into it there. Then the first half, we seemed to be solid, in control, not really being threatened. But when you've got to put Harry Maguire up front, it kind of says it's gone a bit south, doesn't it, Charlie? And the subs didn't quite work for us tonight. And the system in the second half kind of collapsed and all control left. It just left our feet. I couldn't believe it was like night and day. It was like watching Spurs. It was like one half and then another half because it just failed us in the end, didn't it, mate?
It felt very old school in the sense of when we used to shove Marouane Fellaini up front when we needed a goal. It felt just like that. And I think, going back to your point on the substitutes, for me, when Rashford came on, he looked tired. He looked like there was, I think there was the reason he didn't start and stuff was because there was some form of niggle or injury or something like that. So, but it did look like, he was struggling a little bit. And there was a comment that I just saw that said about where he lost the ball, where he didn't give the ball to Garnacho. He tried to obviously run past and the defender made a good tackle. But it's as you say, it was night and day. It was poor the second half. You're listening to the commentary and the commentators couldn't work out kind of what system and what formation we were even playing at one point. They were just reeling off random numbers and it was confusing to watch. But I mean, it's a what everyone was saying is, it's a tough place to go, but I mean, we put ourselves in the situation of doing that, right? In the sense of not beating them at our place. So, and as Jordan says, bring on kind of whoever we get. The only downside is the 2 extra games that we have to play, but in no way am I in fear of anyone that's kind of dropped down, right? They're the ones that are under more pressure, I'd say. The ones, they're dropping out of the Champions League, whereas we were never in it. So it's more pressure on them.
Yeah, I mean, Ten Hag, Kev, has said all along there's no excuse, game after game after game. But was there an element there of a lack of, I wouldn't say energy, a combination of lack of fitness, energy, people carrying knocks, and a clear example of not having the quality and depth? Squad depth was called into question there today. 3 forwards out who didn't make the journey. We end up with Harry Maguire on up front for the second half. Rashford, like Charlie said, carrying a knock. Is this the only concern out of this? Because it's not all bad. Let's not forget, Kev. It's not bad, but looking ahead, I think it sort of concerns you about more than what actually happened in the night for me. I don't if you get what I mean by that.
Positivity-wise, it's funny that maybe it shows how far Manchester United have come as a club. We've been here on the United stand. We've been through the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer days. Personally, I was here through the Louis van Gaal days, the Mourinho days, and times like that. And we've just won this game. We have won it 1-0. The annoying thing is that a dubious penalty at Old Trafford has kind of done us out of finishing top. And yes, now we are in the position where it would be written in the stars if we get a team like Barcelona. But bring it on. Bring it on. If this is the route we have to take, and we have to do it. Yes, if you want to say we've made our own bed, we've got to lie in it, we have to do that. But Manchester United this evening, first half, I thought total control. I look at Eriksen and Casemiro in that middle, absolutely bossing it. And I thought, we're halfway there. We're getting at half time, 1-0 up. We are halfway to achieving this 2-goal kind of cushion that we needed to see us to avoid the so-called big boys. And this is where the Europa League drops down for me, man. The likes of Barcelona, Juventus, whoever it is, Ajax dropping it. I mean, any other competition in the world. I'm not just saying it because we could get one, but, you can, fail spectacularly in a competition, then yet fall through this trapdoor where potentially you're meeting teams now that have been playing from the start, so many games, won the group, or finished second or whatever, and you can face them. And to me, that's where the Europa League really gets a kind of bad name. One of these teams can fall in now, win this competition, and get straight into the Champions League. But this evening, listen, Garnacho, absolute fantastic goal. Yes, he went a bit quiet. There is loads of talking points. Would you have started Rashford? Yes, I would have in hindsight. Now it's easy to say. Donny van der Beek gets a start after God knows when. You start to forget about this man, but he's obviously done something in training. It was part of the game plan. Not really covered himself in glory, if I have to say it as it is this evening. Donny van der Beek, quite disappointed, but at the same time, it's understandable, isn't it? He hasn't had game time, and he's just been thrown into a big game that we needed to win by 2 goals. We didn't just have to win this game. We knew what we had to do, but we have won it. And at the end of the day, I'll be able to tell my grandkids I seen Harry Maguire play up front with Cristiano Ronaldo. No other football fan apart from a United fan can say that.
No, we can't. Nick P with his super chat there. Tonight shows we can win, but it takes a lot of matchcraft to go to Spain and win by 2 clear goals. That will come as Ten Hag develops his team. Developing the team, Jordan. I mean, you touched on something I wanted to talk about, actually. And a lot of people are saying it in the comments again. Can we keep using this excuse of being tired, Jordan? That's the thing, because Kev brought up Donny van der Beek and you brought up Christian Eriksen. I thought both were shocking tonight, personally. I thought they were both well below par. Christian Eriksen's passing was completely off it. And like I said to Kev a minute ago, Jordan, that for me, I'm taking lots of positives from this. It's like this group was won by a dodgy penalty decision, but it's going forward that I'm concerned, because I don't think we're going to spend in January. And I think it was Charlie who said it just a second ago as well. There's a lot of games now. FA Cup, League Cup, added two more games in February now, not March, because we're in this knockout stage. that strength in depth, you'd have thought Donny would have come into that and took his chance. But this goes to show if Eriksen isn't doing it, which he wasn't, you'd want someone else to come in. We haven't got, and that's the worry.
Yeah, look, in terms of Donny, I'm at a point now where I'm done with Donny. I'm done with him now. Like, honestly, I've been patient with the situation, and I've blamed it on managers and whatnot, and injuries and everything. But today he should have come in, and even if it was 45 minutes of energy, he should have come in and tried to boss that game. If he'd bossed it in the first half and then ran out of gas after 55, 60 minutes, it is what it is. But he just doesn't have enough influence on a game when he is getting the opportunities. And if he doesn't sort of grab a good 45 minutes, 60 minutes, then he isn't going to play the next game. He'll probably be, banished to the bench now for, God knows however long. We are tired. And this comes back to the reason why I'm saying that we won't finish in the top 4, because the squad is threadbare in many areas. And we got to keep remembering, going back to, I think Kev said it, we've got to remember where we've come from to where we are now. And it is work in progress. And ultimately, the games will come thick and fast. There's multiple competitions. Over the course of a season, we are going to tire. We are going to pick up injuries. And I just think other squads are better suited for the demands of the league to ultimately get into that top 4. And I think we're also going to see that in the Europa League. I think we will find it tough as the games start coming, like you're saying. And, a lot of our players are going off to the World Cup. So, there's people talking about there's no football for however many weeks. Well, there is, because 60, 70% of our squad are going to represent their country. They're going to come back knackered. They're not coming back from Qatar, Dubai, chilling. Like, they're going to come back and they would have had a tough time. Straight into a crazy Christmas period. And I think the board are going to have to back the manager in January. It's not a case of, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. We are absolutely threadbare, So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the purse strings in January.
It is harsh on Donny van der Beek. I've seen a few comments there, and I would agree that he'd need a run of games, Jordan. You cannot judge him off that today. He has been thrown into the firing line. Now he's not going to turn around and say, "Listen, Gaffer, don't choose me for this one." He wants to play. But to get 45 minutes here and there, I mean, when's the last time he started a game for Manchester United? A big game today. A run of games would be great. The conundrum for Erik ten Hag at the minute, trying to get him in now, is that you've got the likes of Casemiro, Eriksen, players like Bruno Fernandes, who are clearly well ahead of him, that they're in there on merit. And for Donny van der Beek, he's kind of just wasting away.
Yeah, no, I mean, Charlie, just to go off. Go on, Jordan. Carry on with that. Sec.
No, I'm just look. I'm not judging it just on today. I'm just judging it on his United career, that he just can't catch a break. And him coming in for 45 minutes, he did not show anything today that makes you go, do you know what? He's potentially an option for another game to ease pressure on a Bruno or an Eriksen or whatever. You just want to see something from him that shows that, there's a player in there that can do something. And the problem is that what I don't want to happen is for you, it comes to January and people go, oh, do you know what? Let's not spend money because you've got Bruno, you've got Donny as an option, you've got Martial as an option. These players have shown that they can't consistently stay fit for long periods of time. And what happens is that they get fit and you go, no, they're an option. We don't need to bring someone else in. But we do. It's okay to say it hasn't worked out for certain players and we need to bring players in that are reliable and can play 75% of the season. We're talking about players here that are available like 34% of the season.
Yeah, we always see with the super chat there, I don't get the big deal, read 2 extra games. If we go on a big cup run, 2 domestic cups, there's lots of games that need playing. Yeah, that's right, Rory, and that's the point we're making, mate. It's a lot of games if we're still in the Europa League and them cup ones, and we're talking about the squad depth. I'm just going to come in on that now with Charlie. Donny van der Beek coming in. Kev's coming to his defence a little bit. The run of games, Charlie. We're always talking about it shouldn't be a big deal for this football team if we have a good cup run. But the problem Donny van der Beek's got, he's got other players who are coming in like he has from the peripherals, just from the fringes, and are doing a lot better than what he did last night. players are actually taking their chances, like McTominay, like Fred did when he got his chance the other week. Donny van de Beek just, I said it on tour. I said, he's just too nice. I don't know what it is with a man. He's just like, I just love him to bits, but when the tough gets going, he just doesn't seem to be that man. And I'll go back to Watford last season when he came on the pitch like a little pit bull. I'm like, where's that Donny? Where is that Donny? I want it. But I think right now, when you're in this Ten Hag team, Charlie, you have to take your chance. Otherwise, you're just going to get left behind.
Yeah. I mean, it's always going to be tough, him not playing, or any player not playing for a substantial amount of time due to whatever reason, and then coming in and being thrown in such a big game. But that's football, isn't it? You've just got to take it. And it seems to always be the same thing with Donny. Is everyone says at the start of the game, not that we expect greatness from him, but I really want this guy to do well. I really want to see, him take this opportunity and take this chance. But it seems to be kind of the same thing every single time that he doesn't. And in the however many minutes he played, 60, 70 minutes, whatever it was, I barely heard his name. Maybe that's just because I'm not listening out for it. But, it's just unfortunate. I think, we did have high, or I had high hopes for him when he came in, definitely. And for me, it is slowly getting to the point of, how useful can Donny van de Beek be? And as you say, it almost seems bad saying it because he seems like such a nice guy. And it's like, if he came on that pitch and just for that 60 minutes or whatever, and just tried something, just tried these out, something that we're not used to seeing Donny do. But no, it was, I don't know, it was just a bit of a weird game. Maybe the pressure got to him or something. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it's how many chances is he going to get? And Mark has made a good point. If he can't make it under Ten Hag, then is he going to make it at all at United? Really,
Donny Doo, as Charlie says there. I like it. New name. But I mean, Kev, when you look at it, I go and I break it all down. We're like dissecting what seems like a defeat tonight and going 15 points, 5 wins in a row, 3 clean sheets in a row off the back of 9 games unbeaten, 7 wins, 2 draws. I'm feeling this negative and this downbeat. I'm like, something just doesn't seem right, mate. There's a lot coming from this team. And you know what? With all these games coming up in Europa League, I'm going to ask you the question right now. Does it not give you that little bit more confidence knowing that we just don't concede goals, mate, and we can stick it out and not give stupid goals away and make the job hard for ourselves? We can beat anyone in this competition. Some would say we can compete in the Champions League the way we're playing right now, the teams that are in that. But does it give you that little bit of confidence that, you know what, you said it before, it's like that second half was similar to what we've seen under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last season, but we're still not getting beat. And I can't remember De Gea making a substantial save in that second half either. The defense is rock solid right now. Does that give you at least a little bit more confidence that with all the games coming up, we're still going to be hard to beat, and maybe just that little bit of something in January added to this team that we can actually still win these games and grind out these results that we need?
Yeah, well, look at last Sunday. We're doing the fan forum after beating West Ham. And for the last 15 minutes of that, you're kind of looking and going, but you have to show great character. And Manchester United did that on Sunday in the Premier League. Thanks, yes, largely to David De Gea, fantastic world-class saves. He's pulled off an absolute double save today. I think one was with his head. There was like a double instance snapshot. And again, David De Gea is in the form of his life. At the back four at the minute, obviously Varane is a huge miss, but I just feel that Martinez is actually that good. I was going to say you could play anyone next to him. Maybe the fact that Harry Maguire played the furthest away from that defence when he come on the pitch probably tells you everything about his kind of future at the club, because Lindelof is definitely preferred over him at the minute next to Martinez until Varane comes back. And Martinez has just been, honestly, a cult figure. I can't remember a player that's come in. Yes, Bruno hit the ground running, maybe a bit of a cult figure at that stage. But to get a player like Martinez as a defender you have to go back probably a long way to think of somebody who's got the affection of the crowd, the Argentina chants. He's giving everything back to the fans. The fans enjoy watching him. And he was absolutely immense today. For all the bullshit that Graham Souness is still harping on about, the deluded old tit, carrying on about this guy is still too small for the Premier League. I'm sorry, mate, but how many headers did he win today? I bet he didn't. I don't even know the stats, but we talk about aerial duels. From where I was watching, it looked like he won every single header today. And my wife says it, man, it's size don't matter, man. It's the size of the motion in the ocean. Sorry.
Guys, someone, Mark must have said something because there's a certain number that's flashing up in the comment section with the inch mark next to it. I'm not going to go into that, but obviously Mark's been at it again and people are running off from that. Is it enough? Well, it's plenty enough. But people say Martinez suspended, obviously suspended for Europe, because I'm pretty certain he's okay for this weekend against Aston Villa. I've just checked now and he is clear for that one. But the aftermath of tonight brings up that draw, Jordan, and an exciting one. Like we said, I mean, it does feel like we're actually back in the Champions League looking at the teams. I mean, RB Leipzig, Leverkusen, Salzburg, there's a German contingent right there. You got Sporting Lisbon. Don't mind a bit of that. But then you got the big guns, Ajax, Juve, Barca. They're all there, mate. Where? And guys, in the comment section as well, get them in. Where do you fancy, Jordan? Where are we going? Let's make a bit of fun of it as well, because we're going to take anyone on. We're playing well enough to take anyone down right now. Where do you fancy? Where's the highlight in that draw?
I don't really fear anyone. Honestly, mate. I really don't. Like that's what I say. We want to be in the Champions League, so we want to be playing these teams. Yes, I think the only downside is that it's 2 extra games. Listen, bring on Barca. Bring on Barca. Go big or go home. Let's take out Barca.
It's Barcelona or Ajax for me. Barcelona, so then we can pump Frankie de Jong out and show him who's boss, or we go back to Erik ten Hag's ex and show him what he's made of nowadays.
Yeah. Or go back to Juventus and show Pogba.
Oh, yes. Trev just threw a firework onto the bonfire there. Big time, hasn't he? Getting there. I know Pogba's still injured, and obviously, I don't know if he'd be fit. He should be back after the World Cup.
Oh, he'd be back for that.
But I mean, show Rabiot what he's missing out on.
Yeah, this is it. You've got to look at it and you've got to go, we should be able to beat anyone. And I want to go back to it again, Charlie. The form that we're in at the moment, yeah, there's a goal issue right now. There really is in terms of scoring goals. But they say titles and trophies are won by defences. Right now, I think we've got the best in the Premier League. I'm not even being bullish about that or being stupid or doing it for a reaction. I do believe that Manchester United's defence as a unit right now is better than any other defence in the league. I really do. You could say Newcastle are up there with that. But I just feel like from where United have come from last season and the disgrace that was last season, worst Premier League season ever, for Ten Hag to add one player in that, now you can say Malacia, for Ten Hag to come in and go, Maguire out, Martinez in, his signing, and to turn that defence into the unit that it is. And then for Lindelof to come in and play as well as he is, for Malacia to replace Shaw and play as well as he is in replacement, for him to galvanise that whole defence and the players that are coming in and replacing players when needed, I think we are the best defence in the Premier League right now. And I feel confident going forward that, you know what, that's going to carry us a million miles going forward this season in all these games, like I said to Kevin Jordan a minute ago. And Martinez again tonight. I mean, I don't think I've seen a player start off, even Jaap Stam, when he first joined United in the heyday, Charlie, I can't remember anyone coming in and slotting in and bossing a defensive line like he has. He's just been absolutely immense.
Yeah, he and it's not just, obviously the passion that he shows, and he puts his head where it hurts. He's so aggressive, but in the right way as well. Like you think you've got it'd be very easy for as a smaller defender, when you've got that Sorloth geezer who's like 6'4", whatever, it'd be very easy to think, okay, I need to sit off this person because I might not win the heading duels, etc. But he doesn't. Like it doesn't affect him. It's like his aura makes him 6'5". He doesn't actually need the height himself. Like he's an incredible player, and I think that's the main thing we've got going for us at the minute is that how good we are defensively. That luckily at the minute we only need that one goal to win games. But yeah, as soon as we somehow, whether we do start converting 2, 3, 4 chances as we are going to play the lower half of the table teams. We got Villa and Fulham coming up next in the Premier League. Hopefully, we can show that we can go and score some goals, and it's so important as well for confidence, because the defense look completely full of confidence, but you put going up the other end and it's a little bit shaky. I know Ronaldo was offside, but he obviously tried to lob the keeper with that attempt, and that obviously goes over. And it's just it's a little bit different with Garnacho because that's only his second proper appearance, isn't it? And it's a great finish, to be fair. So yeah, it's I don't know at what point it becomes a headphone fell out. I don't know at what point it becomes a worry for me, but it's just that at some point we've got to put like 4 or 5 past someone, surely.
Yeah, someone's going to get slapped soon. Yeah.
I mean, Jordan, on that, is there another forward option now? Will Ten Hag seriously be looking at Garnacho as an option in the Premier League, for instance?
No, I'm going to say, I'm going to bring the kind of getting hammered in the comments about my criticism of Van der Beek, but I'm going to use Garnacho as the example to Donny. Garnacho was, forget the goal aside, he was lively and got himself involved, and you could remember hearing his name. He was just about, and for Donny, that's just what I want to see. I just want to see something that shows us he is an option and can relieve the pressure on the squad. Garnacho has now played himself, for me, as an option alongside an Elanga and players like that you look at and go, okay, this player can come in and play X number of games this season to relieve some pressure on the squad. We always said that, with this 10 players that Ragnick said that we needed, we were never going to sign 10. So some of them needs to come from the youth. Well, suddenly you've got an Elanga and you've got Garnacho as options to come in and relieve pressure. We talk about being tired, but you read any footballer's autobiography, and they always talk about when you're winning, you don't get tired. You just want to play games. So we have got to remember that we are on a good run. It was a win today, and we've got to look at the positives. Yes, there are players carrying knocks, and we do need a bit of luck on our side with injuries. But ultimately, it was a win today. I know we're all sat here, and it all does feel a little bit like the therapy stand again. It really does. But it was a win, and we've got to utilise some of the squad. Hopefully, there's a few more bodies available for the weekend, and we can go and beat Villa.
That's it. Super Chat is going to read a couple of these out before we move on. Daz with one. We are blessed we didn't get Timber and De Jong this summer. Instead, we got the Butcher and the General and Casemiro. Casemiro, again, I thought was excellent tonight. I just absolutely adore this guy. He's brilliant. Phil, cheers for the Super Chats. We need wingers back. Today, after Elanga got subbed against West Ham, we completely lost our shape. To be honest, I don't think it was a case of losing shape today. It was a case of Ten Hag took a risk in trying to win the game. We had perfect shape in the first half. I thought Bruno did his job superbly down the right-hand side. It reminded me of Rooney of old, Kev, doing a job out of position, sacrificing his game for the team. And first half, thought he was brilliant. And this is where I think it went wrong in the second half when we changed the shape, because you've got players there that want to play for Ten Hag like Bruno, and he will go on the right. He's not got a problem. But it's when you start bringing other players in, I just don't think I've got that adaptability. And McTominay came on today. I don't know what he was doing, mate. It was like, he was non-existent. I thought he's going to have physicality to this here, but he just wasn't there again. And another substitution that backfired on us today.
It's the balance of the team more than anything. From the first half performance, you look at it and you think, we've got him here. More of the same in the second half. The second half almost become a game of cards, and it was almost like Eric Ten Hag just thought, right, let's go for it. Let's really go for it. And that formation, I was trying to work it out. What was it? A 3-3-3-3-1 or something mental. And you kind of look at it and you're like, this is mental, man. You try to work out where players are playing. Even the commentator at one stage was like, Luke Shaw's come off. And I'm like, Luke Shaw's on the left. You were trying to work out where everybody on the pitch was playing. And obviously topped off with Harry Maguire coming on up front. And I think that's an interesting one you say, Charlie, there. When you talk about Marouane Fellaini, used to be sort of utilised as this, let's go for it. Usually we were getting beat. It was like, go for it. But, I mean, at least Fellaini was a bit of a threat. He might get a red card. He was going to throw a few elbows about. At least he would have given Sociedad something to think about, which is where Maguire's being asked to do something really it isn't his game. But for me, the whole rhythm of the game went when the changes started to be made. Rashford, yes, what was he? I was trying to work. Was he like in the number 10 really behind Ronaldo?
Yeah,
Lost the ball a couple of times.
On that there, Kev, because I remember I was in the press conference last week after the Sheriff game, and I asked him about Rashford, particularly on his goal and where he was, and he said he played Rashford in a 10 behind Ronaldo in that game and thought it worked. And I think that's where he wanted to go ahead with this one, but it completely backfired against a well-oiled defensive outfit in Sociedad. And I think will serve Ten Hag well as to not trying that against certain opposition again, because Rashford's no number 10. He's no number 9 for me, Kev, either. And it just backfired because I think Rashford then, when playing difficult opposition, you have to have a bit of craft about you when you're playing that number 10 role. It is a fine art, that role, and he looked a bit lost, mate, for me.
I think he looked totally lost. I mentioned Rashford because he come on. There was a couple of instances of breaks where the play broke down. He's give the ball away, and he's doing that thing where he's trying to chase down, and everything broke down. And then you're making kind of too many changes to areas of the pitch where in the first half we were winning the battle, and maybe that's testament to Sociedad as well, because we've mentioned the dark arts. They certainly turned it on in that second half, and they defended for their lives. And the longer it went on, it was just like, we are not going to score against these today. We're not going to score another goal against them. And yeah, listen, it is what it is, isn't it? We need to be positive. The only annoying thing is we haven't got that goal in the second half. We had a hell of a long time to go and get that goal, and we didn't. But Sociedad, they've sat in deep. The booking for for Martinez, I even go off. I mean, it was some of the football shithousery, as I call it, that was going on around that field. It was pretty embarrassing. And trying to get Ronaldo sent off as well. As he's saying, Father Ted, down with that kind of thing. I'm not with that. They clearly tried to get Ronaldo sent off. And there was other instances where the refs had a bit of a shocker.
Yeah, Darren Mullanian with Super Chat. I think we need Hackball and another right back in January. Dalot was a bit off, Charlie, today for me. Not quite as assertive and the standards he has been over previous games. And that right back cover there, because it was Beth asked the question yesterday in the press conference as well regarding right back cover. And he was mentioning Lindelof. I'm like, no, not for me there. And Wan-Bissaka was back. It just doesn't look like he wants to use Wan-Bissaka to me, Charlie. And then he was talking about Brandon Williams the other week, impressing him. Don't see him coming back. I mean, are we desperate for another right back? A bit of cover for Dalot? Because he must be flagging. I don't see him get brought off ever. He plays every single minute, and it can affect you. And let's not forget how sodden that pitch was tonight and how hard it would have been on the foot. And the pressure now of coming into a new manager bout's game against Villa this weekend with a rejuvenated Villa team, it's hard going, Charlie, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's what I said, I think, a couple of weeks ago on a forum. Is the right back position was one of the two fullbacks that I would have thought we would have strengthened in the summer. Obviously, Ten Hag chose to go with the left back one instead. So definitely, yeah, I mean, obviously, it's great. It's wonderful that Dalot is playing out of his skin. It's just obviously how long can he do that for? And obviously, us not having that cover that Ten Hag seems comfortable with, right? I mean, that's why it'll be interesting for me to see what he does in the Villa game, actually in the Cup, whether he does just completely, I don't know, whether he wants to go for it or does completely just mix up the team and maybe throw Wan-Bissaka in there if he's fit and see how he gets on, because I mean, I haven't seen Wan-Bissaka play in a very long time, so it'll be interesting to see how he'd get on in terms of I mean, we know it's night and day in terms of attacking output with Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, but it'll be interesting to see nonetheless. But yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to keep up the standards that he's set in every single game. But again, statistically, it's another clean sheet, isn't it? And at the end of the day, he's done what he's needed to do defensively. It's just, I guess, in those types of games, it can be difficult, and obviously you put a lot of pressure on yourself, especially second half when you know you need to go and get that goal. You try and force things a little bit extra, and it just didn't really fall for us really. I don't even know. Did we have a shot in the second half on target? I don't even know. Yeah, so no. It's obviously that's not just down to Dalot, but I feel like it wasn't just him. It was just a collective team thing. It was just one of those days where I think it was about around the 20th minute. I was saying to myself, I was like, I don't even know if we scored by then, but I was just thinking it's not going to be. I even tweeted that we'd do well to keep a clean sheet, which we did at the end of the day. So that's a positive for me.
Yeah, I mean, right back, definitely need cover in January. Jordan, you've upset everyone with your Donny comments already tonight. I'm going to throw you right in at the deep end again here. Ronaldo is a bit of a problem for me, mate, now. It just clearly isn't working. He's just not got that instinctive touch to score a goal out of nothing anymore, it seems. He had that last season, but now he's looking like he needs 3 or 4 chances before he puts one in. And the amount of chances we are creating in this new system, which isn't a lot, we need someone who's just going to go, one chance, bang. I don't know who we've got in our team that can do that, but Ronaldo, again, another blank and another disappointing performance for me.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. Who else in the squad fit is going to do a better job? I don't think there is anyone else you can bring in there. It isn't Rashford, Martial. It just can't stay fit. If Martial was available, then yeah, I think Ronaldo would have to come out of the team. But as it stands, we're thin on options, and I do agree with you. There was multiple times where I just felt like the Ronaldo that we know, one touch, bang, and he just isn't there. He's taking 2 or 3 touches, and then he's getting wrapped up by a defender. We know he's not the player that he once was, and it's looking like he's not even the player he was last season. But I think the options are saving him, meaning that he has to start games.
That's it. Kev, on Ronaldo, then people going in saying Bruno just as bad tonight. Let's not forget, Bruno is being played out of position again. I didn't think he was bad in the first half. System changed things. Maybe did the system hamper Ronaldo? Because he had moments. Obviously, he got the assist for the goal in the first half, Kev, but second half just fell off a cliff like a few players did. So am I being too harsh on another poor performance from Ronaldo? Bruno disappeared in the second half. Was it all down to them substitutions and the shape which finished us off in that second half? Or is it a concern that moment, that little chip that he should have put in the net, yeah, it was offside. There was a moment in the second half where he went through and just hit it at the defender's legs. He maybe could have made a different decision, cut it back and laid someone else in. He just looks desperate to score that goal at the moment, and nothing is coming off, Kev.
It's kind of emotional, man. It's heartbreaking in a way to see Ronaldo. I always say to you, Adam, we were on the show when Ronaldo re-signed to come back to Manchester United. Remember how giddy and excited we were. We could not believe it, man. It's one of the happiest times of my life, man. I'm thinking, I cannot believe Ronaldo's coming back. Now look at the stats, the goals he scored last season in one of the worst disconnected Manchester United teams many of us have seen in our lifetime. And he still did the business and scored goals. I think the difference is this season, and as harsh as it is the system that Erik ten Hag and the football that he wants to play is that Ronaldo is not going to work for him. He cannot lead the line at Manchester United because, and I'm defending him slightly, he's not going to get the service that he craves. And I don't know, unless any of you want to argue to say You know, he was giving service from the left, from the right. Manchester United are not playing that way with wingers where balls are getting constantly whipped in. You know, you think of the goal last season that Ronaldo scored against Tottenham at the Stretford end. How often is a ball put into Ronaldo, who's one of the greatest kind of athlete leapers in world football? And
Athlete leaper.
Are you having that one?
Kev. That's
I
a
don't
good
know
one.
where I pulled that out from, but I'll keep that one. Keep it in my pocket, man. But yeah, it's there wasn't much service this evening, but then again, there wasn't much. I failed to see if Rashford had started as a number 9, maybe where the service would have come from. And maybe that does come down to the way that Manchester United set up today. It was clearly all about the midfield battle. Let's control the midfield. And when you've got Eriksen and Casemiro, which in effect went, oh my God, how spoiled are we now looking at that? You know, in comparison, what, McTominay and Fred? I mean, that was like having dial-up and then going straight into Wi-Fi, you know, the next season. You're like, wow.
Ultra-fast Wi-Fi.
Yeah, the good stuff, you know, and looking back and going, how did we ever mess about with that old, you know, the old dial-up, waiting for the phone to ring and all that?
Yeah, I remember it well.
I'm on the internet. Put the phone down.
God. Super chat in from Darren Mullane. Charlie McNeil. No, mate, he's not ready. He would honestly say that himself. I've been watching the under-21s constantly this season. By the way, guys, get down to Lee Sports Village. Free entry for the under-21s against City on Saturday. So Manchester Derby at Lee Sports Village. We'll be there. So come and say hello if you are down at Lee Sports Village for that one. It's free entry. So get down, support the young lads. Charlie McNeil has had an indifferent season, I would say, Darren. He's scoring some goals. He's missed a penalty in the last game that I was at, which was unfortunate. Not quite there. I think a little bit of physicality. He needs to fill out a little bit more. Shoretire has come on. He has filled out a little bit and he's playing a lot better. Obviously, we've seen Garnacho come through. Iqbal isn't a million miles away. Kobe Mainu plays like that, just not quite there yet. To answer that question, mate, I think it does need investment right now. Another quality striker needs bringing in. I don't think the youth have got that position down, but there is positivity coming from it. There really is. Charlie, I mean, in terms of the striking problems, mixing it up, freshening things up, Villa this weekend, there's a possibility we could go with a completely different front three this weekend, mate. I mean, we've got Martial, Sancho, and Antony pretty much looking at it and the noises coming out that they could be all ready. I mean, this is where you have to use your squad. Is it not a time now to go, right, boys, come on. These boys are blowing out their ass a little bit here. They've put everything in. We've got the win, but not made it. Come show me what you've got against Villa. We could change it up and freshen it up completely. There's no real excuse not to, Charlie, if the players are suffering.
No, not at all. That's why it's exciting, I think, for me to kind of see what he does do. And I do hope that he does rotate, not just for the sake of, you know, resting some players, but also because we want to see what different players and their combinations are like. You know, you want to have that, you want to feel comfortable going with this front three and then being like, okay, if that's not working the next game, you know, you put another player in and it works just as well. Yeah, it's an exciting game. It's just an intriguing one in the same sense for me that who we do go, because again, you know, as you mentioned, obviously Antony, and then you've got Martial and then Sancho as well. But what does he do with the defense as well? Does he go back to old roots of just resting Martinez and going with Maguire and Lindelof again? Does he maybe
never
go
leave
with
that team for Erik Ten Hag? I don't think.
Yeah, well, as long as he keeps putting them performances, I think we're all more than happy for obviously him to keep playing. He's definitely been our player of the season so far. But yeah, to round it off, I think it's an exciting time, and hopefully the main thing is that players have been in training, been given Ten Hag a headache in terms of, you know, selection, and he's been thinking ahead, being like, okay, these players are doing well, their time will come against Villa in the cup, that type of vibe.
That's it. I mean, Jordan, do you think that was an audition for Donny van der Beek tonight, knowing that Bruno is suspended for the Villa game?
Leave me alone about Donny.
No,
leave me alone.
No, you're getting nailed, mate. You're getting nailed. I mean, you look at it though, Jordan. On that though, it's an important question. Donny van der Beek, Not only you, mate, I'm going to slaughter him as well because I thought he was poor tonight. But someone has to step up because Bruno's suspended this weekend. So there's a position there under Ten Hag. If you take that opportunity, you stay in the team. No one steps up at all, mate. That's the worry. And now I'm thinking, like, right, who is going to play that role for Bruno this week? You could have Eriksen further up. Donny could have moved in there. Now I'm thinking he may try and change the shape again. It's a bit of a worry, and that's what I don't want. I want him to stick rigid to his philosophy and how he wants to play, but just be able to bring a player in. Who's coming in for Bruno for you right now? As it is right now, Jordan, who's the right man to fill that number 10 role?
Yeah, first of all, look, I don't care if Donny FC are not happy. I'm just not happy with what he offered today. It was a chance for him to show something, and he didn't show enough for me. Don't care if people are not happy with it. I'll still sleep tonight. I'm fine. It all depends about who's available. What are we saying that potentially is coming back from injury? Sorry, guys. Did you say?
So you got Antony, you got Sancho, you got Martial as a front three, possibly. Your midfielders, you've got everyone fit. There's only Bruno who's suspended, so everyone is available for midfield apart from Bruno.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think it's one of those things just on Antony. Like, you don't know what you're missing sometimes until he's gone. There's been a lot of games where I felt like he hasn't really offered as much as I'd like him to, but I do feel like, you know, we've definitely missed him as an outlet going forward. I think it would have been a different game with him playing today. Look, between now and January, you've got to give players like Donny a chance while he's fit. We don't know how long he is going to be fit. And he said about him playing as a number 10, it's prime time to shine. So people talking about giving him a run of games, maybe do have another look at him. I think Elanga and Garnacho are definitely now options to come in and play some ball. But in terms of replacing Bruno, I think you look at the players that are available, then Donny, it is sink or swim for Donny now.
Yeah, Rory with another super chat there saying, if we had to sell Gardner to raise funds, surely Donny must be sold to get a player that will play a lot more because no one else
people
can
in the
be
comments
sold,
for
it
that.
seems. And we're looking at a third year of a player's career wasted in Donny van der Beek here going into the World Cup, because it will be, and Louis van Gaal only plays players that are actually playing game time. So Donny, he's going to be one of these players that we may see play against Cadiz in that friendly that United have just announced all of a sudden, alongside, I think, is it Real Betis?
Real Betis,
we could have quite a reserve team actually out of the World Cup, working alongside Ten Hag. So that'll be interesting. See if we can get anything more out of some players that he's getting a bit more time with. That'll be interesting to see when the Premier League kicks off again. But I mean, Kev, who are you bringing into that midfield with Bruno missing now? I mean, someone just said there obviously has to be Fred, Casemiro, and Eriksen. But what is McTominay coming in for you? How are you playing it, Kev?
I think I would bring in McTominay, and I think I would give Eriksen a try further forward. I think there's not
so Eriksen, Casemiro, McTominay.
Yeah, but you know the fact that, Kev, that you're not saying Donny, does that not answer you where Donny's at?
It does, but yeah, all right. Let's see what you're doing here. Caught me unprepared here, man. I was just ready to say as well.
I'm getting hammered here. So somebody say something.
He's just fallen to the bus, and he's like one of them horror movies where he just grabs you at the last minute and just drags you down with him.
I certainly was not expecting that one. Yeah, well, I was going to say he would need a run of games. Now, from what I've seen this evening as a performance from Donny van der Beek, I have to look at the Premier League as a total different ball game altogether. I'm a firm believer, right? You play your team, you go out, get the business done, and then if you want to bring Van der Beek on and we start getting in minutes like that, then that is the way to do it. Because look back through this team then, right? How long ago would we have wrote off Dallo, let's say, for instance? Mm-hmm. There was a time when he was kicking about. He's had a run of games. He's took the ball by the horns, or whatever they say. He's got himself integrated into that team. The same has happened with a lot of players. Malacia was given his chance. Luke Shaw upped his game. Luke Shaw's come back in. He's had a run of games. And it does come down to the players that Erik Ten Hag can trust once he gets them in. You've said it earlier yourself on Donny van der Beek. Nobody knows Donny van der Beek better than Erik Ten Hag. He must know how he operates. And maybe this is part and parcel of it now. He's going to start getting minutes here and there before he starts to bring him into the team. I just hope he can, because he's going to take a lot of criticism from that performance this evening, but he has been thrown literally into the lion's den. He hasn't had much game time over the last few years for whatever reason.
Yeah, Alice doing with super chat there, back in, Jordan up. Guys, why does Mark back Donny so much? Never seen a player do so little. Don't get this absolute protection for a player who has rarely offered anything. Charlie, who comes into that midfield now, mate? Because you've got Villa there, like I said before. Unai Emery is in. United off the back of a disappointing European night. We always seem to have a freaking away Premier League game against someone who's just going to be up for a fight every time. It's just the United look every single time. It's Villa. It had to be. Emery, who's had our number. Pragmatic to a certain extent. Are you going solid? Are you going a bit more physicality, McTominay? Are you going a bit more flair? Does Donny get another chance here, Charlie? What's happening? How are you mixing that midfield up?
I think, yeah, I'd agree with Kev in the sense that I'd bring McTominay in and play Eriksen further forward, but I wouldn't play Casemiro and McTominay as two deep players. I think that alters the.
Do you think McTominay's good enough to play that further forward thinking midfielder?
I think he's capable of playing a more up and down box to box role. Not maybe a creative type, player. I think that would be the Eriksen role for me. But yeah, it's just such a shame that not just me, but us as a collective can't say after that game, you know what, Donny deserves to start at the weekend. In the replace of Bruno. It's just it's a bit of a rubbish situation to be in, and as we've all pointed out, he's not painted himself in glory. So it's just it's hard. I find it hard to speak about him because it's like I don't have like a bad word to say about him, even though he's never really done anything, of note in a Manchester United shirt apart from like scoring his debut. But it's just a bit of like a meh topic in the sense of I don't really know what to say about him at this stage.
Yeah, it's that. Rory C's trying to answer that for you, mate, by saying Donny was sold for a pittance by Erik Ten Hag. We all thought Woodward did a great job in that deal. Maybe Ten Hag was just happy to sell him. It
wasn't a pittance at the time, was it? It seemed an all right price, but
I think we just looked at it as a pittance because Ed Woodward was doing the deal, mate, and we've seen how bad he is. Yeah, that's why we were thinking, whoa, hang on a minute. We've got a deal done in, 3 days?
Yes.
It sounded like a good deal at the time. But like I said before, I feel like Donny van der Beek has lost 3 years of his career at Manchester United. I don't want to say that, but facts are there. People don't like facts. People who don't like Jordan don't like them facts. But that's another story for tonight's show. But moving ahead, I don't see. I mean, for me, are you guys in for throwing Zidane into the mix at any time soon?
Well, that was a change. I was going to ask you guys a question. Looking at the cup that we've got coming up now, would you guys make radical changes and just accept the fact that the two fronts we fight on is the league and the Europa League? Would you make drastic changes?
I feel like we've got enough fringe players right now to actually really compete in the League Cup game. Because I'm talking like, I think Zidane could easily come in to that team. I think you've got enough in defence. If Aaron Wan-Bissaka wants to prove his point, give him a game, you know what I mean? If he's working on it and he wants to be a Ten Hag player, there's a great opportunity for him. And then you've got the forward line, the forwards, someone going bag an hat-trick or something, because, Emery's known for concentrating pretty much like he was with Arsenal on the league and European-style trophies. So will he risk a Villa team in the pressure that is actually staying in the Premier League and keep getting a bit of momentum? It's a tough one because I think Unai Emery is going to be looking at this double-header this week and using it to assess his squad before the World Cup comes. Could United take advantage of that? Possibly. But to answer your question, Jordan, I'd go all out Europa League, personally. That's how I would do it. Kev, would you do Europa League?
I think we've got a good chance of it. I think
I know what Kev's going to say. He just wants to go to Wembley again, don't you, mate?
Oh, I love them days out.
Yeah.
Never remember the game, but it's always a great day out. But I think we've got more of a chance of finishing top 4. I really
I know,
do.
that's
Then
come into the
actually
equation now, isn't it?
than winning the Europa League. And I just want to say something really funny there. I just had a right moment to myself. You were like, would you bring Zidane in? And honestly, I'm sat here looking at you three and I'm like, what is going on here? I'm like, Eric Ten Hag's doing well. Why would we want to bring Zidane in? And then I'm like, oh, right, I get it. At least I was brave enough to tell you all exactly what I was thinking then.
Yeah, but it's big of you to come up and say that and not realise what was going on. Let's just say Iqbal.
I'm with it now.
Let's not use first name terms, eh? Let's not confuse anyone on a night where we've just got 15 points and not qualified as group winners, because that's hard enough to take on its own. But Charlie, that same question to you. At this stage now, with all the games coming up, and obviously that tonight has brought as well, January and February are going to be mental. Straight after the World Cup, do we have to prioritise competition?
I would personally. I think I'd change. I mean, as you say, there's quite a lot of fringe players who have a point to prove. Really, they need to buck their ideas up. The likes of Donny, Sancho as well. And Iqbal coming in. These are all players that either have something to prove to get back into that starting lineup, or have nothing to lose when it comes to being amongst the first team squad and that. And I think even if you go Iqbal, Garnacho, throw Sancho in there. If Martial's fit, obviously you want to give him some minutes. Anthony coming back off an injury, whether he's involved at the weekend. If he's not, then you play him in the cup game. Wan-Bissaka, there's a lot of, even Dubravka. Put Dubravka in, why not? I want to see him play. I want to see what he's about. It would be a good chance to utilize, the squad we've got, kind of regardless of what everyone thinks, whether it's too thin, the squad depth, etc. It's definitely a time, in my opinion, that we need to prioritize, certain competitions ahead of this one. And in my opinion, that's not saying that playing these players, we're throwing the game away by no stretch of the imagination. I think if we play these players, we're still more than capable of winning the game. So it will, as I say, as I keep alluding to, it'll be interesting to see what approach he actually goes for, Ten Hag.
Yeah, definitely. It will be very interesting. Before we finish up, Kev and Charlie, I want to get your opinions. Jordan said he wants to take Barcelona in the next round. I'm going to finish on the Europa League theme because it isn't too far away now because of tonight's results. Back in February, 16th, I think, is the first leg. Kev, out of them 8 teams, who are you having?
Give me Barcelona any day of the week, man. Honestly, they are like us a couple of years ago, living purely off name, Barcelona, and the way they've gone around everything, financial fair play, the way they're almost like jeopardizing the whole legacy and the club looking at the future, selling off all the assets, doing all this to try and have short-term success to get back to where they want to be. Now, let's just put another nail in their coffin. Bring it on. Barcelona, new camp.
Kev's actually thinking 99 vibes right here now. I'm just jumping around in the new camp. That's where he's at. I'm with him. Charlie, where do you fancy? What's happening? What's going through your head, mate? You looked at that before, and that final whistle blew tonight. Who do you automatically go to and think we're going there?
Yeah, first instinct is Barcelona, 100%. And then secondly, I wouldn't. Again, it's going back to Ten Hag's ex. It's like going back and beating them at Ajax. I think Ajax would be a good game as well. I mean, but realistically, as we've said before, not scared of any of them. Don't think we should be. They're the ones that have all the pressure. They've dropped down. We were always in this rubbish competition as it was. So yeah. I think we can. I think on our day we can beat anyone. So yeah.
When is the draw, guys?
I think it's the 7th of. I think it's quite soon. I'm sure it was the 7th of November.
I think it's Monday. Yeah.
Monday. Yeah, so we're going to know straight away. So it's something to look forward to next week, fellas. Just so everyone knew, my choice would have been Ajax. That's where I was going on that. But yeah, I mean, I'm totally with Charlie on that, and them reasons alone, nothing else. I promise you. But it's a good game.
It's the bicycles, isn't it? The bicycle trips along the canal. And,
pictures,
lovely. Great
photography, and all that. Ryan, I'd love to take a picture in Amsterdam. I'm telling you.
Great museums.
Anyway, whichever way we go, it's going to be interesting, guys. That draw is on Monday. We will probably be covering it here on the United Stand as well. Lots coming up on the channel, loads of content. I will be back. I'll probably be back in some form tomorrow because we've got a double header weekend. The under-21s Manchester Derby. We will be there. Like I said, guys, free entry. If you are local or you're looking to watch a game on Saturday because United are playing Sunday, come and get your fix. Support the under-21s. Massive game. City are pulling up trees at the moment, so it would be good to knock them down a peg or two, I would say. And then obviously we are there at Villa on Sunday. If you are at that game, come and see me as well. We'll be out doing the fan vlogs outside there as well. So busy time. Charlie, cheers for coming on, mate.
Appreciate it as always. Always good.
Yeah, Jordan, loved it. Great slagging off of Donny van der Beek tonight. Cheers for coming on.
Absolute pleasure, guys. Remember, it was a win. Let's raise the spirits. It was a win, guys.
Yeah. And Kev, we're not signing Zidane. We're bringing a youth player through from the academy. Cheers for coming on, mate.
Yeah, I'm not even going to sign off. I'm still thinking, Zidane, come on. Eric Ten Hag's doing a good job here. I was ready to pipe up and then I thought I'd missed something, but yeah, I'm with you now. Brilliant. I enjoyed it.
As Charlie Sheen would say.
Yeah.
Guys, that's 9 games unbeaten, 7 wins, 5, I think, clean sheets in that time. 9 clean sheets for the season already. It's a positive. Jordan said it. We're in the next round. Simple as. It's just an extra round. That's how we're going to finish it tonight. Everybody, cheers for watching. Cheers for tuning into the United Stand. Give the video a like, share, and subscribe as always. Cheers, and we will see you through the weekend, everyone. Night.